Man, I'm going to sit here and say that I spent the last 15 minutes realizing I never hit live and talking to myself while I try to figure out how to get this to work. And I've never felt sillier. But you know, sometimes that's just a life. That's how things go. I just sat there and I was like, oh, I got these things are still not working that great. Let me make sure I can get this fixed. And then turns out, nope, I was just making a boo-boo the entire time. Here I was thinking that I was live. I was not. I forgot that I still needed to click it. So even though I was technically streaming, I hadn't gone live yet. I'm live now. Fantastically enough. But jeez. Okay. Well, the best thing is I got it to work. It's working now. But yep, nope. I definitely feel like a fool. But yeah. So I would say. So anyway, let me get started. For real this time, considering I already went through a whole opening. So today I'm going to look at the solo adventure for Sword World RPG. Last week I looked at the system and noticed that there was a solo adventure that you could play to get an idea of how the system works for some actual play. And I decided that would be interesting to do. That's what I'm going to do. Obviously be playing it by myself, which leads into the one big foible I have as a person. Whenever I do role playing, I role play to play with other people because I enjoy it and like to create stories with those people that I decide to play it with. So it's always awkward for me whenever I have to role play by myself and speak to myself as NPCs and role play with myself and create interactions with myself, because it feels awkward. It feels like I'm trying to take the limelight when it's not the intention. But I know my players know I'm not trying to, but it always bothers me because I hate speaking between me and an NPC, or, two NPCs. Like, at the end of the day, you gotta do it. But overall, I rather prefer players to roleplay and interact with NPCs more than me interacting with myself. I could talk to myself all day. I'm doing it pretty much now. But, oh man, it's just wild that that's an issue that I have. But I'm going to try to get over it for today because it'll be very important that I make sure that I handle this as best as I can, because obviously I'm just going to be by myself. And the only NPCs, there's only like 2 NPCs, so it's not going to be super weird for me, but I'm going to do my best to actually role play and play a character without being too awkward. But for now, let me see. I had been sitting here doing some tech stuff. I had mentioned it earlier, which I still feel dumb for. Real dumb. But what I had done was I used Roll20. I put a lot into Roll20 to make this work. I know there's a lot of better virtual tabletops. Much, much better. This is just one that I've put a lot of investment into. I know how to use it. I've done enough with it. I can make things happen with it. I'm just going to stick with it. It is what I have done. And at this point, I'm going to be too much of a boomer to try to do anything new. So the problem with that is I put a lot of stuff into it. There's a lot of moving parts on my screen, and I'm worried there's going to be some scuff. It's just probably going to happen. I'm clicking between 80 different things trying to get this to work. So I hope it works. And if it doesn't, just forgive me for a bit, because I promise I'm trying real hard, but I'm going to give it the best shot I got. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move us over here. There we go. So for the moment, I got nothing up here. I'm just going to show it slight reveal, slow reveal as I come along here. But took me a while to set this up. So let's see if I can't get everything good here. The only issue I'm running into is getting the music to play. I think the thing is that I'm hearing the music as well, but I'm not sure if it's playing correctly for everyone else. And that's what I'm worried about. And because it's a little off when it comes to how OBS handles audio. And when you're trying to capture this audio, it is a bit of a pain when it comes to trying to do it on the browser. Because like the best thing you do is just try to capture your desktop, and the desktop will pick up everything. And so I'm worried that if anything else pops in through, it'll just come out to you guys and it will be shocking and a little jarring. And I'm trying to avoid that. But it might be my best option. So we're going to try to turn that on and see if I can get the music going. Let's try a nice medieval town. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of coming through. It's a little echoey for me, which means I might just turn mine down. But yeah, okay. Okie dokie, yep. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, it's because I'm hearing it in two different spots. Gotcha. Actually wonder if that means I can just do this. Can I turn down my volume? And then just do this? Maybe not. Oh, no, it mutes it for everybody. This is me just trying to make sure everything works correctly, but it's got to be a pain. It always has to be. That's okay. I could deal with some echoing. It's not going to kill me. It's definitely not the worst thing that's ever happened. Okay. All right. So let's start with what I've got prepped. So we're going to pop up my lovely character sheet. All right. So we went through the character sheet before. So the adventure uses the human warrior. So I pretty much just went through and added in some lovely detail to what was already in the book. Pretty much got our name at the top, put our gender, our age. It didn't really matter what it was. I just put it in there. We've got our HP filled. We've got our, I think our magic filled. Let me double check. Yeah, magic points filled. And of course, we've got all our possessions, our abilities, our check packages, everything that we're going to be using for today. And just in case I need it, I do also have the everything else pulled up for it, because there's a good chance that I might need to reference the book and not get rid of my character sheet here. So we can always pop up the book. The book is being a jerk. Come here. Hello. Okay. There we go. Easy. Okay. Now we have the book loaded up. right into the solo tutorial. And for anything I need a reference, I can always pull it up here. And that way we can do kind of both. Can always kind of come both between these, whichever one I need at the time. For now, we're going to pop into the solo tutorial and actually walk through it, since I didn't walk through it last time. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so the solo tutorial, my first adventure, is the best way to get to know this game. Normally, TTRPGs are divided to GM and player roles, but here you can practice by taking on the role of both GM and player by yourself. If you're new to Sword World, or if you're planning to GM without any RPG experience, we strongly recommend you to play this adventure at least once. Okay. It is not difficult to enjoy. Just read and follow the instructions to learn the basic rules. You should be able to complete the scenario in about 30 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty short. Luckily, I spent most of my time messing up and doing other stuff, so this worked out pretty great. Preparing for adventure. To embark on an adventure, gather the following: standard dice, each with 6 sides. I usually do live rolling. I like to roll actual dice. That's a bit tough to do because I'd have to set up more stuff. So in Roll20, I already got it prepped to just roll 3D dice so we can see what we get. We've got a copy of the sheet. Yep, we've already got that. I've got the battlefield sheet and I've got tokens. Yes, I do. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, we already talked about before the things that we're going to look at when it comes to how abilities work, but I might just do a quick refresh since it's been about a week, and I know I wrote notes, but I don't want to look at them. So we got our class levels. We understand that we're a fighter and a ranger. We have our ability scores. We know what the averages are. They're very similar to how D&D works. So let's go ahead and scroll down here. We got our standard values, ability score bonuses, larger, the check packages, combat traits. Yeah, we have a good idea for this. Now, chance and luck are all part of 6-sided dice. We all good with that. We roll 2d6s to get our results. In Sword World, you have many kinds of adventures. Okay, so we are going to start the adventure. Now, requests can vary from defeating monsters, searching for people, excavating ruins, escorting people, and so on. In order to receive such requests, adventurers might register with the Adventurers Guild, a union of heroes such as the PCs, and ask for help in finding work. Now, we have visited the Adventurers Guild branch, Blue Nose, located in the port city of Harvest, in order to become an adventurer. And if I remember, descriptions of scenes appear in the above format, broken out in a boxed text. So that is stuff that we need to read. So let me get that back up. And yeah, I'm going to pop up the Roll20. Boom. It also wants to be a jerk. Oh, why are you breaking, bud? Oh, I know why. Come on. There you go. Okay. We're going to pop up the lovely Blue Nose Adventurers Guild with this lovely art of an Adventurers Guild by Tom Kartos. Wanted to put him up there. He released it to public. I wanted to make sure he got his credit, though. I've used a lot of Tom's stuff. He's great for RPG resources, especially if you do some stuff on his Patreon, because he releases a lot of the extra stuff that he does for his maps and things. So I figured it'd be kind of nice to have him on there. Okay. And then let's go over here. I've got my narration voice all set up. So let's see if I can't get this to work as well. All right. Located in the city. Oh, let me actually see if I can move this And it doesn't change it. Yes, I can move it around. Located in the center of the port city and waterway town of Harvest, the Blue Nose is an adventurers guild branch that is rumored to be very hospitable to novice adventurers. The first floor is a guild hall with a reception counter, a cafeteria, and a general store selling items useful for adventurers. The second floor is an inn where overnight stays are available. At the reception counter, a man with formal clothes and intelligent glasses approaches you. "Oh, are you new here?" he asks. "I am the branch manager of this guild, Rosso. Welcome." A smile appears on his face that makes you relieved. It seems the rumors of the Blue Nose are true. All right. Now we've got lovely Rosso. I got some stuff for him. Boom. We're gonna pop him in there. So we have got me. We have our adventurer coming right into the forefront. And we have Rosso also here. So now we have me, myself, as an adventurer, human warrior male, 21, not accurate age, but accurate enough, and Rosso, very intelligent looking guild associate. So let's see how this needs to go. The GM will read it aloud, but this is a one-player game, so please imagine the scene as it might be presented to you by another person. Now, you have come here to become an adventurer, so it is time to register with Rosso. Okay. So let's start with Rosso's stuff first. New adventurers are always welcome. To become an adventurer, all you need is courage, wisdom, and a few useful skills, and the money to equip yourself with the minimum necessary equipment. Rosso tells you with a soft smile. From what I see, you already have equipped yourself with weapons and armor, so let's get you registered as an adventurer. It seems that you have already been approved as a qualified adventurer. Rosso hands you the registration form and a pen and asks you to fill in your name and details. All right. So we already have a name for our character. It's just my name. We are Censkai. Boom. And we've got our details. We've got our equipment. So imagine talking to Rosso with, yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of training, so I think I'm ready to be an adventurer. I just, I guess I'm just ready to take that first step. So I guess I can just, doing paperwork was, I guess, what I should have expected coming into this. Oh, we don't need to worry about that. This is just a formality. I'm sure you'll do fine as an adventurer. Now, we've got our name. We've got all of our stuff that we need there. Now, we can roll, which actually sounds like it might be fun just for this one thing. So let's do that. So if I remember correctly, we roll and the 2 dice that we get are the result that we are. So we're going to determine what kind of life and experiences we had before becoming an adventurer. Okay. And let's go ahead and do that. So, because we can roll 1 to 3 times, choose any or all of the results. So let's roll once and make sure this works properly. Boink. Okay. We've got a 3 and a 4. I got all my stuff here. Hello. Oh, of course. Here we go. So we got a 3-4. Let's take a look and see what the chart gives us on that. You were raised as a different gender than you identify with. Okay. Interesting. Not exactly the idea I have going for the character. So let's try another roll. 4-5. A little bit lower. Let's close this out so we can look at what we're looking at. You saved someone. Interesting. Let's do one more time. 5-5. 5 is you have been praised. I have been praised for my talents. Well, that makes me sound kind of arrogant. Let's try to do you saved someone. That sounds interesting. So I saved a person, and in turn, that made me want to become an adventurer. I got hooked to the idea of protecting people, helping people. I think that's good for Censkai here, the warrior. Okay, let's see. Although that's my history, it also gives me a reason. But let's see if we can get a reason for this. This is the direct reason that I wanted to become an adventurer, determined by rolling each die once. So let's take a roll. 5, 6. Because you had no other way to live. That's an interesting one. So, that I grow up on the streets, had no better way to live. That wouldn't have worked really well if I had been praised for my talents. But if for this, it's actually not that bad. Let's see what else we can get. 6, 4 to protect people. Now that works great with what we already did. So we'll hold on to that. And our last one is 3, 1. You wish to broaden your knowledge. And I'm not going the scholar route. I'm a warrior. So I know how to punch stuff. I know how to hit things with a sword. So we are a warrior who saved someone upon a time. And now we adventure to protect other people. And as we put that on our sheet to let Rosso know exactly who we are and what we're doing, let's go ahead and pop the sheet back up. No, actually, yeah. So I could put those in there, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. I don't think there's any reason to try to dirty my sheet even more than I already have. So let's go ahead and just keep on reading here. Seeing you finish writing your name, Rosso, the head of the guild branch, smiles at you. Rosso says, "Now then, let's talk about work. Right now, we have an urgent but simple request." Oh, okay, a simple request. All right. Now, there are a variety of quests for adventurers, such as limiting monstrous threats, searching for people, excavating ruins, escorting vulnerable travelers. Adventurers Guild branches manage all of these requests, introduce them to adventurers such as you. You don't have an adventuring company yet, so Rosso introduces you to a request that you might be able to solve by yourself. Recently, Scarborn goblins attacked a nearby village. All the villagers worked together to fight them off, but it seems that one of them escaped. If these Scarborn goblins are left alone, they will soon gather their friends and attack again. We can't leave them like this. Rosso continues. Worse, one goblin seems to have escaped to a nearby cave. The villagers have neither the ability nor the strength to pursue the goblin into the dark cave. Rosso sighs before finishing. Oh, so I ask you to confront this goblin. Oh, okay. I can fight goblins. They're not too tough, I think. That sounds like something I might be able to handle. I figured you'd be the one to ask. After all, a budding adventurer as yourself needs to prove exactly what they're made of. And in doing this, you will be well rewarded. Actually, I think he talks about the reward later. So, Scarborn is a general term for certain monsters that have been hostile to humanoids, such as elves, tabbits, and lycans, since the age of mythology. They are horrifying monsters that strongly hate humanoid people, even killing them, eating their flesh. Scarborn cannot be left alone, and standing against their aggression is one of the most important tasks for adventurers. What do you know about Scarborn goblins? To find out, make a skill check. PCs will perform a variety of actions during an adventure. Now, we kind of talked about this before. So, we use brackets to help players know when scenarios text referring to a specific skill check, magic spell, other in-game element. That's why you will almost always see skill checks written within brackets. Monster knowledge check tells you the specific name of the skill check. Knowledge identifies the standard value you use. That must have at one least class level. I do not have Sage, therefore I cannot add my knowledge to the check. And the final number at the end shows the target number for the skill check. Okay. So essentially, we're going to use just 2d6. I don't have a level in Sage, therefore I can't add my knowledge to this check. But what I'm looking for is just a 5. So let's see what Censkai knows about goblins. I got a 6. Nice. Okay. Now, for skill checks, we can meet or exceed. This is something that we talked about last time. So skill checks meet or exceed. I believe on combat is where we have to exceed the actual check. So we add them together, and then we do not have the standard value able to do that. And boom. Okay. There we go. So since we passed, we did not get an automatic success. Or an automatic failure, so we got to keep those in mind. Okay. And we've got our skill check summary, so we know how to work that out. So that'll help very much so when we get later to the actual cave of goblins. Okay. Now back to the story. Fortunately, you have no class levels, so you cannot add anything to your roll. If we are equal to or greater than 5, which we are, you have knowledge about Scarborn goblins. You can see this information on page 49. We cannot take advantage of the Scarborn's goblin's weakness shown beneath the monster's name on its data. So let's see what we know about goblins. We were on page 12, so let's go to page 49. Okay. We know Scarborn goblins are shorter than humans with green skin, short limbs, and large eyes and noses. Hello there. I had some scuff moment earlier and didn't realize that nothing I was doing was working and spent a whole lot of time talking to myself. But that's on me. I got it working up now, and we're trying to get everything to work as well as I can. But I hope the audio sounds fine. That was the one thing I was concerned about. Bullies when they feel superior to others. These small monsters are quick to beg for their lives when they are outnumbered. Right? Most goblins do not reflect or learn. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. They are quick to commit treachery. Scarborn goblins are exceptionally numerous across Raxia, and they work well in groups. They are not formally educated, but they are clever, and often raid humanoid settlements to steal and rob. Scarborn goblins are fast on the run, have no sense of responsibility or solidarity with others to whom they are not close. So, okay. We know they're not very smart. We know they're not able to be reasoned with. They obviously have all their senses available. They got dark vision. We know that. The only thing we can't take advantage of is magic damage weakness, which, we didn't have magic anyway, so it's not like we were going to help. But yeah, so we have a good idea of what goblins are. Let's go back to the story here. Okay. So as Rosso kind of brings up the fact that it's goblins, we try to double check our knowledge. And after thinking just for a bit, oh yeah, I actually saved somebody from a goblin a long time ago. It's actually why I wanted to be an adventurer. Oh, fantastic. Then you already have experience. Then this shouldn't be too bad. However, Rosso speaks. Goblins are not weak monsters, but you will be strong enough to defeat them. He holds out a map. Here's a map to the cave and a floor plan of the interior. This cave has been investigated before, and its structure is known. It's not a very large cave, and there's a dead end at the back. As long as you don't get caught by surprise in the dark, you shouldn't have any major problems. If you are successful in defeating these goblins, I will pay you a contingency fee of 200 gamels. A week's worth of preserved food costs 50 gamels in silver coins, so that should be decent pay. You receive the map, accept the offer, and set off immediately for the cave. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that now then, if that's all right. Oh, fantastic. Please do be safe, and I hope to see you return soon. And said, this time, a now established adventurer. And I leave this lovely guild. Now it's time for me to go to the cave. Let's pop the cave up, everybody. Boop. As I scroll through 80 million of my tabs. Don't worry. Bum, bum, bum. Here we go. I Unfortunately, no more tavern music, even though we were in a guild hall. But same thing. Now we've got the Goblin's Cave. Let's make sure I've got myself on here. Doing 80 things just for me. Boom. Tokens. I'm a little low. Actually, I think it's because I'm a little zoomed in. Zoom out just a little. There we go. And then just readjust just a tiny bit. There we go. That stuff never wants to stay the same. Okay. We've got our lovely character sheet still pulled up. And then let's go ahead and get that taken out. Back onto the story. All right. Boom. The damp air caresses your cheeks as you peek into the cave. It's dimly lit and it looks like it could use a light. Now, we have the items possession column of your character sheet. You have a check mark in the adventurer set section. So let's look at our character sheet and make sure we're double checking that correctly. Boop. So as for our character sheet, it does say that we've got life grass. We do have the adventurer set, and in the adventurer set, we do have 6 torches and a tinder box, granted a few other things. So now that we are fully sure where we can find that on the sheet, let's head back to the story. Okay. Now, the torch burns for 2 hours, provides ample light, so we are definitely going to be using a torch. It also fills one hand when in use, but I can throw it on the ground. It will not go out immediately. It's the best lights for adventurers. And then tinderbox is a tool to start fires, including lighting a torch. So I'm definitely going to be lighting a torch as I enter this cave, as I feel that absolute dampness kind of seep into the pores of my skin. It smells awful. I would assume the smell of maybe half-eaten carcasses kind of fill the air, as I assume, being the lair of a goblin, they've probably captured many animals and poor prey that they've just feasted on and left to rot in this cave. I also have the smell of fetid water, as small bits of it drip out of the ceiling onto the floor and puddle on the ground, and many, many different signs of mushroom-like fauna that also add to the dampness of this area. And I'm just gonna probably put out there, I don't think Censkai really likes the smell of mushrooms mixed in with the disgusting smell of rotted water and corpses. So, thinking not a great place that he wants to be. And the thought that crosses my mind as I walk into this area is, I need to finish this quick. I do not want to be here longer than I have to be. Let's see. Now that we are in the cave, this appears to be a natural cave with a loose curve. Because of this, it is impossible to see all the way to the back. There are many shadows, and it would not be surprising to find a small goblin lurking anywhere. Now, it says we can listen to hear if goblins are lurking in nearby shadows by sensing their breathing. Ranger skills that excel in outdoor activities are often limited in caves and indoors. However, listening is equally effective indoors. We can attempt a listen skill check. I do think that since I already came into here and I'm already a little hesitant and wary based on the smell, and I have some experience with goblins, I do think I'm going to tackle this a little bit more carefully. So I do think we're going to try to do this listen check. Now it says we do a listen check. Let's pull up our sheet and double check to see how our stats look. Okay. So according to the check, it is an observation check. And so we take a look at our observation. It looks like we have a 3 in it. We do have levels in Scout and Ranger. So well, in Ranger, not Scout, we can also add our observation into our roll. So essentially, we're going to roll our 2d6 and add 3 and see if we can get this listen check completed. Let's go ahead and take a look. So we're going to roll 2d6 and add 3 to it. So I got 7 plus 3, 10. All right, we successfully listened carefully. Look at us go. Despite all the noises of the dripping water and the constant scraping and noises I might be able to hear further in the back as they kind of echo throughout these damp cave, I am able to hear something, I think. Let's see what the adventure text has to say. Okay. Now, you hear a sound like someone is eating from around the bend. It could be the Scarborn Goblin. Okay. Now, I have now noticed the presence of this goblin. Let's see if I can get the goblin to eat. So. Disgusting. Knowing that there's a possibility that this could be a goblin, considering that they've already taken over this cave, it does say that I can quietly sneak up on them, and I think that's exactly what Censkai is going to do. So it says we can use a hide check, which is a 9 or more. We get to use a movement bonus if we have a level in Ranger or Scout. And if we look back at our character sheet, we do have that. Our movement bonus is 3. So we take another 2d6 and add another 3 to it to see if we can maybe hide successfully against these goblins. Let's take a look. Let's take a roll. 6, 9. Wow, I just barely passed that. That is some good luck right there. Okay. So just got right on the 9. Right on the 9. Therefore, our hide check is successful. Let's hide the character sheet one more time. All right. If it's 9 or more, you succeed to sneak up the goblin with hardly a sound. So, I take a second. I think I'm probably going to snuff my torch after coming in here for a little while. Just going to snuff my torch just to be careful. I want to use the darkness to my advantage. And I start to crouch down just a little bit to soften my footsteps. I don't want my footfalls to echo throughout this cave, while I also try to avoid any of the water that's pooled up on the floor. And as I slowly come across the bend, I begin to see the largening shadow of what I assume is this goblin, as it is hastily devouring whatever poor creature it decided to catch this day. And after recognizing it through just its silhouette, I slowly draw I think I have a bastard sword. I do. Slowly withdraw my bastard sword from its sheath, slowly and carefully. I don't want to alert this goblin any more than I can. And as I come close enough to it, and it finally notices my presence, its eyes widen in surprise, and there we go. This way the battle will begin. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, this game uses a battle map. I have that map, or it's like a battle area. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I have it. So since the battle is beginning, we're going to move right to it. And we're going to make sure it's nice and centered. There we go. All right. And now we don't have to worry about this lovely ambient noise. We do have a goblin ambush. I remember this song having a lot of random stuff happening in it. So, you know, just imagine all that stuff's not happening. So, if I remember correctly, what we're essentially looking at is we're both on the front line. It's just the goblin and I. And so what we need to do is prepare our equipment, check our monster knowledge, which we already did, decides who attacks first and who attacks second, and divide our combatants in the front and rear. Now, I've already decided to do that part just for part of this prep. Now, combat preparation says this is time to perform simple actions. So we pull our sword out of its sheath. I put my torch out, so we don't have to worry about that. And then I also grab my shield, thinking I was going to get the drop on him. I decide, nope, I'm going to need to be able to protect myself here. And pull out my trusty, very used shield. And let's see. Now, we already know what we know about Scarborn goblins. Now, every time they receive magic damage, that doesn't apply to us. We do not have magic. Now, initiative checks. There are no class requirements for initiative checks. Fortunately, the human's warrior standard value for initiative is 0. So we can only use the value of the 2D roll. And then we remember the target number of 11 comes from the goblin's monster data, which says it will have initiative of 11. So our target number for our initiative check is that. Now, it says if you succeed in your hide check, the goblin was so engrossed in his meal he did not notice your potion until the last minute, and we can get a +4 bonus modifier to this check. Okay. So essentially we're rolling another 2d6 and adding 4 for my successful hiding. Let's take a little roll. That is not enough. That is 7. All right. So it looks like the goblin's going to go first. Puts us in a really bad spot. So we got the battlefield sheet. They stand in the allied rear guard or front line area. We are on the front line. Let's see. So the Scarborn stands on the front line. They're going to make melee attacks. All right. It's time to attack. Each player takes turns playing one move at a time. So, despite getting the drop on the goblin, this goblin is surprisingly more perceptive than I thought and reacts relatively quickly to me and gets now the drop on me, which is wildly unfortunate as I spent a good amount of time trying to not get caught up into the goblin's range, but it turns out that didn't work out too great for me. So they get to go first. All right. So we're going to go to avoid enemy attacks because we are the second attacker. Let's go ahead and hop down here first. The Scarborn Goblin is attacking you. Before you have a chance to avoid the attack, follow the steps below to determine if you can and how much damage you take if you fail. Accuracy checks from enemies do not involve a dice roll, but rather a fixed value in parentheses. A Scarborn Goblin's accuracy is 10. So, luckily we don't have to go and reference the sheet too much, it just tells us here. We're going to make an evasion check and calculate your check value. Our standard evasion value is 5, so we add that to our thing. Let's double check to see if we can find that on there. It says we have a 5 on evasion. That is in the top there, a little bit below our level in initiative. So we have an evasion of +5. So in order to calculate this properly, accuracy checks do not involve. So since there's this 10, So in order to succeed this one, instead of meeting it like we do with regular skill checks, we need to exceed it. So we're going to take our +5 and roll our 2d6 and see if we can dodge this attack. Oh, yes, that's a 9, 14. All right, so they are... So as the goblin raises its crude club to attempt to smash me across the skull, I deftly step to the side as it bangs into the stone floor of this cave. A bit of water splashes up. And in the middle of that scene, I suppose it's my turn to attack it. Let's see how we do. Okay, we don't have to worry about taking the damage yet, but we are going to go back to attack. Okay, let's attack the enemy. Make an accuracy check, determine the damage of your attack, and then if I miss, it's the attacker's next turn. Very simple. Our accuracy check is 10, because that is the goblin's evasion. So we're going to look for our accuracy standard value. And our accuracy is 5. So 2d6 plus 5 to attack with a check of 10. And we need to exceed that value in order to do any damage. So let's take our 2d6, roll that, and add 5. So we've got 12 altogether. That is the perfect amount to hit him. All right, now we're going to go to determining damage. The amount of damage you inflict on the enemy by your weapon is determined as follows. First, roll 2d and check the power table for the weapon. Our bastard sword has this specific table underneath this goblin's art. That, I remember us talking about last time, is how we're going to determine our damage. So the top row is your result on the 2d. The lower row is the damage caused by the weapon for that 2d result. If the roll was a 2, you do no damage. You get 50 experience points because we get experience for failing. But if we're equal to or greater than the weapon's critical value, you score a critical hit. To make things easy, critical hit 2d results are highlighted in red. Our bastard sword has a critical value of 10. So 10, 11, and 12 create a critical hit. Note the current damage of the weapon, and then roll again. And so as long as you continue to roll a critical hit, we essentially do exploding criticals, where the more you hit criticals, the more you get to add them together to deal more damage. And then we add any extra damage to that final total damage. So we're going to roll first, and we're going to see what we get. So let's scroll back up on there so we can check our chart. Whoop. Actually, I think it's on our character sheet as well. Yeah, we'll just use the character sheet. It is also on our character sheet because we are using a bastard sword one-handed because I decided to grab my shield. And we're going to see how well this works for me. So let's take a little roll. We got a 1 and a 2, so our hit was a 3. So we do 1 damage to this poor goblin. Oh boy. We're doing so great. To be fair, we haven't taken any damage, so that's something. But it's still not ideal. What I'm going to do now, though, is I need to see how much goblin health this thing has. We're going to go back to this. Double check its health. It has... Where you at, buddy? What is your hit points? 16. It's got 16 hit points. So we're going to add some HP to this thing. 16 out of 16. And there we go. And we dealt 1 damage to it. Bonk. Now, my character, good old Censkai the warrior, has... How much? I have 24 health points, and that's shown on our character sheet. So, but for extra flavor, we'll still add it into the token as well. Just so we can keep a better eye on it. Safe. So I do think stat-wise, HP-wise, I do dwarf this goblin, which makes sense. But I got to get the damage in if I want to make sure this happens. So, after dodging the clubbed strike the goblin attempted to hit me with, and then missing desperately into the ground, I use this opportunity to take a nice quick sidestep and attempt to stab him with the end of my bastard sword. However, it goes a bit wide. The water gets in my eyes a tiny bit from when he slammed the ground, and I barely scratch him. Just enough for him to know that we're now in a duel to the death. And I just realized you can't see this. There we go. Oh, you want to work, bud? Ah, there it is. Safe. There we go. One last little piece of health that he's gone. Then we can see this one as well on mine. Oh, jeez. Of course, it wants to break on this one. Ah, well. The token on the other token doesn't want to work for the health, so we'll just make sure we use the character sheet instead. Haven't taken any damage yet, so we're good on that. Okay. But now we're going to move back to the goblin, I believe. So we do the damage, and then... we get the extra damage for +4. That's 5 damage. But we also have to make sure we're calculating the defense of the goblin as well. The goblin has a defense of 2. So overall I did 5 damage minus 2. I did 3 damage actually. So now he's got 13 health. Boom. So a bigger chunk than I thought. So I got a bit of a deeper wound with that stab. That kind of worked out pretty well. Now the goblin is going to react. As it takes a bit of this damage and it gets a little bit angrier, it wants to do its best to club me across the head here. So it's going to take a wide swipe with its crude club. And as it took that damage, it's going to try to hit me. I'm not a fan of it, though. So let's see. I need to make an evasion check. We got to double check my evasion. My evasion is 5. And if I remember correctly, it's a 10 for that one. I think it's what it said in the book there. Yes. It's either 10 or 11. Nope, it's a 10. Okay. We just gotta make a 10. Oop. So we got a 7 plus 5, that's 12. So we dodge another strike. I duck deftly under the club. And now I'm gonna come and realizing that he's kind of slow and I haven't been hit yet, I'm gonna get a little overconfident. I'm gonna let my shield kind of slip off my hand there. Gonna just wield this sword now with 2 hands. I'm looking to end this fight as quickly as possible by doing as much damage as I possibly can. So in doing so, we're going to increase our damage a little bit, but we're going to try to hit him one more time. We're going to roll our 2d plus 5. And we got a 4. That's a 9 altogether, I believe, which is unfortunately not enough. We missed that by a little bit. So in my bid to be overconfident, my overconfidence leads me to swing very wide, and the goblin just simply backsteps away using the swing of its club, and the momentum it gained is enough to kind of get to the side of me and flank me a little bit. And now he's going to attempt to hit me again. I'm going to evade. That's 6, 7, 12. I'm doing really well at not getting hit. However, I wish I could hit it more. And as it once again goes for a large swing, this time I take a second to block it with the broadside of my bastard sword. And I'm going to attempt to get a little bit closer and kind of shove him a little bit and make a little more room for myself for this swing. So let's see if we can get him. That is 5, 10, and I think he actually has a 10, so I think we miss still. I'm getting a lot of experience though. It's good to know. Let's see. Just double checking to make sure he was a 10. Yep. Ties are treated as failures. Yep. So we just barely, we create a bit of room. He blocks our, you hear the sound of metal against wood, blocks our attack. And in doing so, we do create a little bit of room for ourselves. However, we're back to another stalemate as we've just created equal spacing between us, which the goblin is going to take advantage of. And I'm going to dodge his another attack with another 15. This time, I'm going to dodge by stepping in closer. I'm going to attempt to cleave him into the side from his club arm. I'm looking to hopefully take advantage of his wide swinging and do just something to him. Boink. That's 6. That's 11 together. Okay, that is just enough. So now we take advantage of this wide swinging finally learning from our mistakes. And we're going to try to cleave into his side, maybe try to get as much into these rib cage as we can. So we get 2 and 2. So we got 4 altogether. We do 3 damage plus 5 is, extra damage is 4. So that's 3, 7, minus 2, 5 damage. And we do 5 more damage to this goblin. So we get a nice, good, strong hit on him. And now he's about halfway through. We can kind of tell he's starting to get bloodied as we feel the weight of the sword cut into his flesh. And we are able to push him off, finish running our blade through his side. We see a bit of blood begin to pour from the open wound onto the ground as it mixes with the fetid water. And take a second to refocus our guard as the goblin, in extreme pain, takes this chance to hit me as hard as he can with his club. The goblin's only got one move. It's to hit me with a club. He hasn't done it yet, so he's getting very frustrated. And as he takes a second, he's going to try to hit me because he's a jerk. Let's see if I can evade this, though. Oh, yeah. That's a 16 to evade. So, once again, we're now taking advantage of this goblin's low intellect and its perpetuity to get angry, to fill itself with rage, to dodge its attacks still. I feel like we're doing pretty good now. And this time, we're going to just kind of sidestep as he runs through. We're going to try to hit him in the back. So, as he runs through us with his wide swing, we take another quick sidestep in order to make a large slash across its back. Oh, that's a failure. Oh, that's an auto failure. Well, I didn't know if we'd get one or not, but we sure did. As I take a step back in order to slash it on the back, I slip in some of the blood mixed water and lose my footing just a tiny bit. The goblin takes notice of this and is now going to try to tackle me. That is 7 plus 5, 12. So I still am able to dodge just enough as I catch the goblin using its small frame. It's not much bigger than I am. So I'm able to catch it as it kind of comes towards me, make more room for myself as I shove it slightly. And I'm going to attempt to try to knock him into the ground a little bit, maybe get the pommel of my bastard sword into his skull. Let's see how well that does. That is 11. So that is just enough. So we're going to roll damage. See how strong my pommel is. Oh, that's a critical hit. This poor goblin is not going to like this. Okay. So we do a critical hit. That means we have 9 damage and I get to roll again. That is 9. That is not. So we had 9, 17, plus 5, 22, minus 2. We do 20 damage to this goblin. That is far more HP than it has left. It only had 8. So, as a result of using our pommel in order to try to stun this goblin, we use our full mass into this entire blow, and the pommel cracks into the skull of the goblin as it squeaks one last little shrill, and it falls to the ground. It is dead as its blood begins to mix in with the mushrooms and all of the water around it. I finally take a breath of relief as I am still on guard, though. From what I heard, there's more than just one goblin, so I need to make sure that I am prepared in case that happens. We're going to move back to the cave here. We're going to make sure we look around and see what we can find sitting around here. Okay. Let's see what the book has left to tell us. Okay. Now, if we did not become unconscious, so we don't have to do that. And let's see. It tells us where to go once. So we defeated the goblin. We go to page 19. After you defeat the Scarborn Goblin, you can take loot from the goblin, look at the loot table at the bottom of the monster data, and roll 2d. You get loot corresponding to the roll. Okay, the goblin's on page 49. They have loot on the bottom. So we're looking at, let's take a little roll here. That is 8 altogether. So we get a crude weapon. It's worth 30 gamels. Okay. We, after stepping carefully around this goblin, we realized, you know, this club's actually built pretty solidly, considering how often you hit the ground. I think maybe like a collector could probably like this, or I could probably find a way to make some money off of this. So I definitely take that and probably pop that onto my side. It's not going to fit on my back with my bastard sword or my shield, so I think kind of hanging it off a belt next to some pouches that carry my gold, my gamels, is probably for the best. And then I continue to kind of search around. Let's see what else we can find here. And then after I take the loot, you hear a voice from behind me. So I get alarmed by a voice that seems to pop up behind me. For this, I'm just going to hide myself off here. Let's go ahead and pop censkai over to somewhere else. A voice comes up from behind me. We're going to go ahead and add them in. Boom. There we go. It seems you have defeated the goblin without incident. You look back to see an elf priest approaching you. Rosso asked us to check on you because he was worried about you being alone. But it seems it was a needless worry. Behind him are 2 more adventurers, one resembling a human-like rabbit, and the other with the ears and tails of a beast. I have those available as well. The other 2 being a lycant and a tabbit. I'm going to pop them in there. Admittedly, I found art for a lycant, and I couldn't make it look good. I believe she's an actual NPC in the game, but I'm just going to pretend she's a lycant. And that's it. And with a sense of relief, you realize these adventurers are all friendly. Okay, now it's time to get out of this cave. So I take a second to kind of inspect these 3 adventurers, and obviously I've decided, yeah, no, they're kind of friendly. So I guess if they know Rosso and they were sent, I guess they were just sent to check up on me. Okay, not too bad. They say, oh, okay. Well, it's nice to meet you guys. I wasn't expecting company. Like, oh, as the elf speaks, oh, it's no worry. After all, it was merely just a formality. It seems that our presence wasn't even needed. You seem to have handled it just perfectly fine. After all, that is the life of an adventurer, is it not? Fighting monsters, looting caves. It seems you have a knack for this sort of life. And I nod. I think Censkai the warrior, having not met probably too many, like obviously has known people and have helped people, is probably just in awe at this elven priest and probably how well composed they are. Considering I just got done fighting, I'm more likely covered in this mucky water. I definitely got a bit of blood splatter. I hadn't had a chance to clean my blade yet. I look like a disheveled mess comparatively to this well put together and stoic elf. And I think I'm just a bit awestruck, so I just have like my mouth open and I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah. In response to them just speaking to me. So Let's see. Oh, roll 20 wanted me to log in again. Fantastic. At least it didn't kick me out of this. Let's see what it says. All 3 adventurers you encounter are humanoids, but they are not human. Elves are slender and tall with long pointed ears. They are quick and dexterous with their hands, and they tend to be good at magic. This elf is dressed in priest garb and wears the holy symbol of Tidon, the god of the sun. Tabbits are a lineage of humanoids that resemble walking and talking rabbits. While they might be diminutive and physically weaker than their other lineages, they tend to be cunning and excel at being magicians. This tabbit appears to use some kind of magic, but it isn't obvious what that magic is yet. Lycans are a lineage with the ears and tails of beasts. They have the supple body of great predator and often excellent in scouting. You are guessing this Lycan is a grappler, judging from the minimal weapons they carry. Ignore my actual art. I don't think the divorced, sad beer gut elves are adventuring. I think they're at home being depressed. So that's probably why we don't see them very often. Although I guess we would just check out an elven camp. But then again, I guess if you get so many years to just work on yourself, I just assume they always stay in shape. I don't know. I can't imagine just being overweight for 1,000 years and just dealing with that. I feel like elves would just get tired. Just be like, okay, I got to get better. I live for a long time. Or maybe their metabolism works differently. But to be fair, I'm sure tabbits, I don't think tabbits live as long, but I get goblin energy from tabbits. I get like berserker energy from lycans from this game. I feel like tabbits are supposed to be like just little goblin-esque creatures where they're always really excitable, always really do the next thing. It's just the impression I get of a majority of tabbits. And then with lycans, I get the idea that they're quick to anger, or I would say not quick to anger, more like they're passionate. They have a lot of passion in them. That's how I feel. That's kind of the idea I get. And then elves have to fit that spot where it's like, they have to be the prideful, stoic ones that just know what's going on. And humans are just going to be, what humans are, which is everywhere. There's just all the things all the time. Okay. Now that you think of it, perhaps these 3 would be good adventurers to work with. As if they read your mind, the elf offers some advice. For now, let's go back to the Blue Nose. If you'd like, it isn't a bad idea to go on another adventure together. You can decide whether you're not in agreement with the elf or not, based on how my adventurer feels. Oh yeah, once again, just stupid, like, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, actually. Yeah. As long as we get to help people, then sure. And with that thought in mind, we head home. We get 200 silver gamels from Rosso. And what we do now is up to us. And there it goes. This is the game primer for the solo adventure. Overall, the combat is really quick. I wasn't expecting it to be so quick, but I kind of like that about it. One of the weaknesses I have for like Dungeons and Dragons in general is how long combat can take. And while that's not usually a terrible thing, normally it can bog up a lot of sessions where I feel like most of what's happening is just combat. But in here, we finished combat pretty quick, even considering that I was at least a little less successful at fighting certain things. And I mean, fighting the goblin, because I did miss a few times and had other few things that did happen. But overall, I had a good time with it. I think it just kind of reestablishes my desire to try to give it a shot in a full campaign. The only thing really left in this book now is the actual adventure, which I'm obviously not going to look into too much because I don't want to give it away for anybody who wants to try to run it themselves. And if I was going to run it, I would do it with some people, not just myself like I did this one. But overall, I had a good time with it. I liked the quick combat. I'm curious on how more of the skills and talents and everything else kind of gets added into it. I'm really curious to see how those are implemented in the middle of combat, because obviously the warrior human has its own special characteristics with like changing fate and what was the other thing you get? Let's take a look. We're just gonna hide my art there. Because you got like the Swords Grace, we had the Power Strike, which we didn't even try. And then, which I guess we could have given a shot, but it just gives you a -2 penalty for your evasion. But that feels like something that would be really rough to do on a solo adventure, where you really don't want to risk just straight up dying without support. But yeah, I'm curious to see how much that adds into it, especially with magic, because the big thing is obviously just rereading magic and how it works. Last time we looked into it, a lot of the magic, there was only really a few combat spells and the rest of it was all really support based. So I feel like maybe the biggest weakness is probably the same that most have with role-playing games, which is there's going to be a lot of tracking stuff. There's going to be like, oh, you gave me this boost, I need to make sure I add that in. And oh, did we make sure that this spell actually did what it was supposed to and stuff like that. So I think overall, though, I like the system. I would be curious to do more with the world, as I mentioned before. And I guess it depends on how well the actual adventure that it gives you runs. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I hope, once again, I have to apologize that I spent, so I was so on the ball with being live, and then I realized I didn't go live. I was in there, but I didn't hit live. So for 18 minutes, I just talked to myself about what I was fixing as I just went along and fixed stuff. And I feel dumb, but I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. And I had put the warning that I get a little in my head about trying to talk to myself with NPCs. So I hope that didn't come across too much. I also got to play around a little bit more with, I have a voice changer. I finally was able to kind of get it in and work it through for some of those, for in the middle of combat with the goblin, and also adding it in for more of the narration. And so I hope that integrated well. I hope that worked really well and it didn't sound too jarring or come off super weird. I tried to make it just, because I'm obviously not here to try to change my whole voice into something crazy most of the time. Mostly just kind of aiming for making it a little bit more subtle, making it kind of work. And I figured the narration was a little bit more just like a reverb. I figured it would work nice. And the goblin, I just changed to some pitch. So I hope it came across as a goblin. But yeah. So I did like doing this. I did mention as well, there was a lot of moving parts. I was flipping back and forth through so many things trying to get it to work. And in doing so, there was probably a few times where something popped in and out. And that was just simply because when I go between these two tabs, that stuff goes away if I minimize it or do something else. This whole setup is super all over the place. But I hope it looks nice. I hope it looks like I know what I'm doing. So there's that. But overall, I've definitely used this setup again for other systems that I want to check. Well, thank you. And hopefully I can work on a little bit more to make sure it's a bit more smooth. I was originally worried about the audio, but it looks like I got that to work. So I'm a little happy about that. It's not great on my end because it did echo through me because I'm hearing it through the tab plus OBS and I can't turn off the OBS one of it. So, because if I do that, you guys can't hear it. But that's a problem for me to figure out. But I think this is a good basis to start off with. I'm happy to do more of these. I'm thankful for anyone who caught the stream or came to watch, and apologize for anybody who might have left because I wasn't live yet. But hopefully if anybody comes across this soon, I do greatly appreciate it. Tomorrow So I realized on Tuesday I played Dark Cloud, and then I realized I said, oh, I'll be back Friday to play more Dark Cloud. I'm pretty sure, because I'll be playing more on Saturday, definitely. I re-looked at my schedule. That is not what I put on my schedule. I put that I was playing Helltaker on tomorrow, and no, I think I'm still going to do that, because that's still a game that I've put off playing for so long that I do want to play. I'm just going to switch over here. That is a game I put off for a long time, so I do kind of want to actually play it, and it would be really fun to get to enjoy it that way with some other people, considering I haven't actually been able to give it a shot. There's a lot of stuff. Oh, thanks. There's a lot of stuff with how I haven't really played a lot that I should be playing, and because of that, I've fallen behind in a few things that I really should know. But I figured if I'm streaming now and I get to do that kind of stuff, why not just play those games that I was already holding off on and just share it with people who want to watch somebody who hasn't experienced it yet? Because a lot of that stuff is things that you would expect people to play. Like, I never played Helltaker, despite it being free and being in my library for like years now. I never even played Doki Doki Literature Club, which is another game I really want to give a shot on stream. I feel like that's something kind of interesting that, thanks to me being a little lazy, yeah, being a little lazy on my library too, that now I just have an opportunity to kind of just share it with people. And I think that's kind of fun. I'm kind of excited to do that. But overall, as much as, and I still got to also show off some of the retro stuff that I really like. I love playing the stuff that I did as a kid, because I mean, it makes me feel, it's good. I like to share that as well, because I feel like most of us who've played games growing up probably have some things that nobody's ever heard of or experienced. So why not share those with people who might find it also interesting? That's just the most fun I'm having with it. That was the goal the whole time. And I'm going to make Radiata Stories for the PS2 the greatest RPG ever. No. But overall, I had fun with the stream. It was a bit of a nightmare for me, but it was still fun and I enjoyed it. So I will probably do more. I'm glad I got it set up. I'm sorry for any scuff, because it's still kind of new for me, but I appreciate all the patience and all the support. So that's it. That's all I got. I'm out. I'm out of stuff. I'll be back tomorrow on my normal time, around noon Eastern Standard Time, to play Helltaker. And I should be able to finish it. I've heard it's a very short game, so I think I'll be able to finish it in one sitting. And then I'll come back Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is my normal thing. And I'll be playing Dark Cloud again. And that time it'll be a much longer stream. I can afford to do more stuff on Saturday, so I plan on doing more stuff on Saturday. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe like 6 to 8 hours for that stream. I don't know if I've set a goal. I had set a goal for the last Dark Cloud stream, which was to get Zhao the cat, because then my title for the video for the stream wouldn't have worked unless I got Zhao. So I accomplished my goal in just the amount of time I needed. That was more dumb luck than anything. So I don't have any goals set for Saturday for how long I'll go before I decided, okay, this is good. So it might just end abruptly when I'm like, oh, okay, I got to here. That sounds good. That sounds like a good place to put a pin in it. But I'll probably be doing it for a long time on Saturday. But all right. Yeah, to be fair, I'll throw a lot out. The thing about Dark Cloud is how much I know about it and how much I know how to make fun of it, because I do love it so much that I know exactly what's good and bad. And I will definitely throw out as much jokes about that as I can. I already hate the nature spirit. Hate that guy. Hate him. What a jerk. And the mayor being a cheapskate, I'm tired of him too. Why'd I gotta fix this whole world? Nobody in that town does crap for me. The only person putting in any work is my cat. My cat puts in more work than everyone in that whole village. So, nah. I know what happens in this game. Don't you worry. But yeah. Okay. I appreciate it. It was fun. Thank you for joining. Anybody who catches it later, anybody who just hopped in for a second, I all greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you guys later. I hope to do more of these in the future and hopefully be a lot more organized about it. And yeah. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.